Evening. Evening, Jasmine. Evening. Hope you're all right. Evening, Lynn. Nice to see you. Let me put these here so I can actually see. It's very lovely. Happy Friday, everybody. It's lovely to see you. Hello, Maria Jose. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining me. Carrie, how lovely to see you. Welcome, welcome everyone. I'm good today. How is everyone today? How are you all feeling? How's your week gone? Jasmine, have you finished your online course? I saw you doing that. Oh, Elizabeth Manras, so lovely to see you. I hope you're having a better day today. Really nice to see you. Hello, San. Jancy. Oh, thank you very much. Just made myself a coffee, brushed my hair, put a bit of lippy on for you all. Hello, Heather. Nice to see you. And Ben B, nice to see you too. Evening, Nadine. Lovely to see you. I'm glad you've joined us. This is all good, isn't it? It's very nice. I love it. I love coming on here and seeing, friendly faces, names that I recognise, people that I've had a chat with during the week. It's so nice. Really lovely. Really lovely. So welcome everyone. How's your week been? What's been the best thing that's happened to everyone this week? That would be nice to see. Oh, hello, Luciane. I've like done a French accent there. I don't know if you're French at all, but I've just thought I'd do that. It just seems like a French name. I might be completely wrong. Carol Johansson, nice to see you. Thank you. I do try. It does make me smile coming on here. I love it. I imagine that you're all out there in your homes like I'm in my home, and it's just so nice to see you. Manon, it's so nice to see you. Welcome. Julie Restiva. I call you by your long name, Julie Restiva, but I know you're Julie. But welcome from California. How are you doing? I'm looking for these best moments. Let's see. Lots of comments. I'll try and keep up with them. Let's see. Nikki Barrows, nice to see you. Kezia, hello. Hello. Oh, gosh. Good to see you. Hello, Kozrat. Nice to see you. I'm very well. Ben B. Good. I'm glad you like seeing me here too. I'm always amazed. I think to myself, I'll turn this on and I'll be like tumbleweed. But then I should trust you more, shouldn't I? I should know that you all give up your time every week. So it's so lovely to see you. Oh no, Tab, your week's been awful. I'm sorry to hear that. Gosh. Oh, Heather, I'm so glad I look forward to the lives too. It's really nice. Cake, 2730, been very tired and a bit depressed. I'm sorry to hear that. Hello, cool auntie. Cool auntie. Nice to see you. So Heather, you've had a good week at work. So that's good for you. Indeed. I think it's really important that we look for the good stuff. It's very easy to concentrate on the bad stuff because we've all had stuff that's been difficult, some more than others. I understand that. But if we can try and dig out the good stuff that's happened to us, then that can be really helpful. I'm not saying that we forget about anything bad at all. Oh, thank you, Nadine. I love it when you do that. You don't feel you have to. I just appreciate that you're here. But I do appreciate the lovely gifts that you send. Thank you. So I was saying, it can be really helpful for us all to sort of look at the good stuff that's happened. So I'm glad you had a good week. Oh, Nikki Barrows, your premature grandson is out of ICU. I'm so happy to hear that. Congratulations on having a grandson. That's so lovely. Ben B, your best part of your week was coming home tonight. Something nice, isn't there, about coming home? Let's have a look. Oh, San, thank you for sending me Rose. That's lovely. Michelle Kitchen. I'm very well, thank you. Hope you're doing all right. I am sitting here, got my coffee. Just saying hello to everyone before I start answering some questions. Oh, Lynn, so you saw your best friend for the first time in ages, so that's really, really nice. Love it. Oh, let's have a look. Forgive me if I don't see your comment or if it flies by. They do come through thick and fast, and I can't always see them. So if I don't answer your comment, then it's not that I'm not wanting to. It's just perhaps I might not have seen it. So let's have a look. They just flew by, and I know that I've missed a whole load. Hello, Katie. Let's see. So for those of you who haven't been here, but maybe you just popped by and you're thinking, what's this woman doing? Well, I'm Sarah. I'm Sarah Aris, and I'm a therapist, a QCH therapist, and QCH stands for Quest Cognitive Hypnotherapy. It's kind of an umbrella term for a whole load of therapies that are aimed at just helping people, really. And each Friday at 6, I try and make it at 6 each week, but sometimes I do change the time, but try to make it 6. I do a little chat, a little get together, a little community, and answer as many questions as I can about well-being, about self-care, about anxiety, about fears, that kind of thing. And yeah, you're very welcome. I'm joined by the lovely Lynn 250 and Jasmine, who are my moderators, who I just couldn't do this without. They're absolutely brilliant. They volunteers, but they are really kind people. And so quite often, if I don't see a comment, they might pin it, or if there are people who are perhaps not as kind as the rest of us, they'll mute them or block them, because we just don't want any old nonsense, do we, of anyone being unkind. Because I think probably if you found your way here, then it's probably because you've got stuff going on in your life, and maybe it's not so easy at the moment, and we are all a very kind, caring community, so you're very welcome here. So what I tend to do is I'll jot down a few questions, and if I see a few people saying hello, I'll say hello. If I don't say hello, forgive me. I'll hang around at the end and say hello and goodbye to people. And also what I do is that if you can't stay for the whole live, don't worry about that. What I'll do is I'll post it on my YouTube channel over the weekend, okay? So you can watch the whole thing with a cup of tea in your own time. So that would be, hopefully that's good. So, let's see. So I saw someone saying that their daughter had passed, I think their daughter had passed their driving test. So I just wanted to say, yo, well done. Yes, my daughter had her first driving lesson today. Bakewell Tart, I love that name. My daughter had her first driving lesson today. I feel like I've succeeded as a mum. I totally get that. That's really true. Well done, you. I kind of felt, now I'm a veggie now, but I always thought to myself, if I can get my children to be able to bring me a bacon sandwich and a mug of tea without killing themselves, then I'll be doing well. And I've kind of surpassed that. I feel like I can retire as a mother now. But it's funny, isn't it? These little markers that come our way. So well done, you. Excellent job. So let me have a look, see if there's some questions that I can answer. Oh, Elizabeth Almos, thank you. So yes, my mum was poorly a couple of weeks ago, and fortunately she's made like a miracle recovery. So she had various things wrong with her bloods, but it turns out that no one in the hospital actually listened to her chest and discovered that she in fact had a chest infection, which was making everything very difficult for her. So luckily she had a very lovely sort of GP who I called, and he came round, and he was excellent and discovered that was what was going on, as well as the other stuff. But yeah, so she's much better. Chatted with her earlier, and she's she's good. Thank you. Let me see. So, oh, Fern, I'm glad you think this is a good idea. Thank you. Thank you very much. Right, I really need to answer some questions, mustn't I? I'm going to sip of my coffee. Hang on. Oh, that's lovely. I just had the dregs and I've microwaved it so it's warm again. I think you do that, don't you, sometimes? Okay. Let's see. So, H, hi. What would you recommend to help someone with OCD? Okay. I'm making a note of that and I'll come back to you on that. Let's see. Have I got any plans for the weekend, Sarah? Yes, I do. I'm running a course this weekend. I'm co-trainer for the Quest Institute, and this weekend we are doing hypnosis and healing. So it is a really interesting weekend, and I'm talking particularly on EFT or tapping, and also I'm going to talk about pendulums. So I don't know if you're interested in this stuff. I always thought it was a bit Looney Tunes, and so sorry, but a pendulum. So I'm going to be talking about that. Yes, that's interesting stuff. So that's my weekend. I'm working all weekend, but I do love it. I enjoy it. So, Charlotte, that's an interesting one. So Charlotte says, my best friend is drifting away and I don't know what to do. What do you mean by drifting away, Charlotte? Let me know. I'll scroll down and see if I can see a sort of further thing from you. But I don't know what you mean. I'll see if I can answer your question. Give me a bit more info if that's all right. Okay, Abby. Abby says, what advice do you have for anyone struggling with anxiety, being away from home, or a parent? Okay. Good questions, everyone. That's excellent. Okay. So, let's just see if there was... Oh, God, there's loads of questions, loads of stuff here. Charlotte. Okay, so let me see. Charlotte, can I see? What have you said? Okay, I can't see if you've... Oh, didn't mean to do that. Okay, so, help with OCD. So H, you were asking a question about help with OCD. So actually near me there's a unit that works specifically with OCD. So if you look up the Queen Elizabeth II Hospital in Welwyn Garden City in Hertfordshire, they have people who are specifically work with OCD. That's an NHS centre, so you can just Google that and you'll find out information. And you can actually, if you're over 18, you can self-refer there. They probably hate me for putting even more work their way, but sorry to laugh, but I mean, it's, you know what it's like at the moment. Everything's just overrun, which is awful. OCD also, the OCD UK charity is really excellent. There's really great advice on that website, so do have a look at OCD UK. And also, I mean, CBT is generally seen as the main therapy that people use with OCD. It's a horrible thing to have. I've worked with a few people who have OCD, and it's very much a protective behaviour. Some people think it's to do with biochemistry of the brain, that the message is not getting through, and it's usually made worse when someone is anxious or in a stressed situation. So the sort of general help with OCD is definitely don't struggle alone. Do reach out and talk. I mean, I would start with the GP, go and see your doctor, and because to actually be diagnosed with OCD, you need to have a sort of specific diagnosis, and your GP can help with that. And then, you know, the stuff that I do is working with the anxiety, so that the anxiety is lower, so there's not so much need for the protective response of OCD. but also delaying, understanding that there's you and then there's the OCD, that you're separate things. The OCD is a protective behaviour, and if you can begin to perhaps delay, so if you have a compulsion to do something, to perhaps be able to delay, if it's 5 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever it is, and then go away and do something sort of productive, creative, take action, and then if you still need to do the thing, then you're allowed to come back and do it. But keep a diary of your successes. It's kind of a slow process, and you have to be a bit patient with OCD. But I would say that start with your GP, look at charities such as OCD UK, and look for a therapist who specifically has experience working with OCD, I would say. So I hope that helps a little bit. So Charlotte, answering your question, so I can see there's actually lots of people who are leaving comments, and I'm really grateful that you're all here. My apologies if I don't say hello or don't answer all your questions. I'm Sarah, and I'm trying to answer as many questions about anxiety and fears and things like that as I possibly can. What I'm doing is I'm writing 3 down, and then I'll look at 3 more. Please don't spam the timeline, because it just makes it just millions of comments, and it's really hard to see everyone's comments. I'll try and get as many as I can. Charlotte, you were talking about your best friend drifting away. Oh, Emily Thomas, really nice to see you. I know you've not been here for a little while, but it's really nice to see you. I wasn't sure. So I suppose, if it's a friendship that's drifting away, that's really difficult. It's a really horrible feeling. I think it's really important to talk to her, to ask her, what's going on? Is she okay? To check in with her, because quite often we can tend to assume that it's something to do with us. If it's the sense that you're drifting apart as friends, if that's what you mean, then talk to her, because we're probably... it's very easy and very natural for us to imagine that there's all sorts of stuff going wrong, and that it's to do with us and we've done something wrong and they don't like us anymore. But actually that might not be the case. It might be that she's got loads of stuff going on in her life. So ask her, have a chat, have a sit down and have a conversation. If she's your best friend, then that should be something that you can do. And it may well be that she says, yeah, actually, well, I've got no money at the moment, or I'm really struggling with, this area of my life. In which case, maybe you can help, maybe you can be supportive of her. Maybe, there is a chance that, maybe she's just drifting away because you're losing the thing that bound you together a little bit. And, if that's the case, then that's hard, isn't it? I think it's one of the sort of bravest things we can do is to begin to realise that friendships come and go. Friendships change, we change as people, and if we're very lucky we can change and head off in the same direction as each other. But if we're not so lucky, then perhaps we change and we go off in different directions. But I think it's about making the most of the friendships that we do have, communicating. I hope that helps a little bit. It's a tough situation to be in, but do talk to her, because you never know what's going on with someone else. So Abby, your question was anxiety about being away from home. So that's such a great question. Thank you for asking it. I think it's completely normal for a lot of us to feel worried about being away from home. If it's the first time we've been away, change sometimes can be tricky. It's uncertain. We're thinking, oh, it's a new environment that I'm in. I'm not sure about it. And so what's happening is that, your unconscious mind is perhaps scanning your environment and thinking, oh, there's nothing familiar here. I'm missing my home, missing my parents, missing my family. And so just give yourself time, be kind to yourself, communicate with the people around you, let them know that, oh gosh, it's hard, isn't it? And perhaps ask them, are they having struggles being away from home? Because they may well be as well. And perhaps if you get together, you can help each other. Also, to try and look for the good. What's the good stuff about being away from home? Is it helping you? Are you becoming more independent? we're so lucky these days, aren't we, that we can still communicate, we can FaceTime, we can telephone, we can message our friends and family, and maybe visit home. If you're missing home, why not go home for a weekend if you can. I know it's not always possible, but and also to understand that it's temporary, and to help your nervous system to understand that even in this new place you're still safe, and you can perhaps have a look on my page. There's lots of information, lots of techniques that can help you in the moment to calm your system down, whether they're physical techniques, visualization techniques, or maybe breath techniques. So I hope that helps a little bit, and it will get better. It will get better. So I hope that's all right. I hope that helps you. Good question. Let's have a look. Mysterious Miss Mia, it's lovely to see you too. I was wondering about you because your name is such a memorable name. So I'm glad to see you here again. Thank you for being here. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at some more questions. Does anxiety stay in the brain to signal fight or flight when there is none embedded in the brain? So that was... Oh, let me put my glasses on. Where are my glasses? Oh, they're here. Oh, now I've lost that. That's typical, isn't it? Okay, let's have a look. I didn't see who that was that asked that question because I'm blind as a bat. Oh yeah, so bass fishing. Okay. So anxiety in the brain. Okay, I will answer that in just a second. Okay, user 219 and then a long number. Hi there, I feel I need a divorce. I don't even sleep well, stressing and thinking about it. Well, I think that's one of those things that, it's horrible when you're in that situation. And I think it's really important to perhaps, talk with your partner if you can, talk with, if you have a close friend or family member that you can chat with, and that's really important. Maybe even go and see a counsellor. You can go and see a relate counsellor either by yourself to talk through what's going on, or get your partner to come and see a couples counsellor, and work out where you need to go with that. I hope that helps a little bit. Oh gosh, that so annoys me the way the client, they're not the clients, what am I talking about, the comments fly through. Let's have a look. Okay. Beck Johnson. So Beck Johnson, you're saying that your boyfriend lost his mother 3 years ago, and he's moody and angry. Gosh, that's hard, isn't it? I feel for him, because 3 years is a flash, it's an instant, isn't it, when you lose someone that you love. So I'll come to your question in just a second. Okay. Shri Dawson, do you do one-to-ones? I do one-to-ones. Yeah, I see clients privately. I see lots of people online. I'd say 80-90% of my clients are online from all over the place, and I do occasionally see people face-to-face, but it's all one-to-one. I don't do group work at all. Thank you everyone for following me and for all the likes. It's so lovely. I get to the end and I think, oh, look at all these lovely new people that have followed me, and the likes make me feel good in my soul. I talk about needy, but it's just very nice, and I really appreciate your kindness, so thank you for that. And if you want to share this, if you think that this might be helpful for someone that you know, then there's that little arrow button that you can press on, and that will share it to other people. And as I was saying earlier on, if you haven't got time to watch the whole thing now, because an hour is a long time to be sat on TikTok, although I know some of you do, and I'm so grateful that you do, then I will share it on my YouTube. So my YouTube is Sarah Fri Therapy, or you can reach it through my profile page. There's a link. Okay, and there's a pinned post here from T. Teachers at school know I want to die, but they haven't helped me. Okay. Oh, blimey, Nadine, that was beautiful. What a lovely swan. Thank you. So, gosh, that is very, very hard, isn't it? To be honest with you, I think that what you need to do is, I have not seen the rest of that comment, but it's hard for teachers because they don't have mental health training. You know, they're teachers, and although they'll do their best to help you, and maybe they could signpost you, what you need to do is go and see your doctor. And maybe if you have family that you can trust, friends that you can trust, ask them to help you, maybe go with you to go and see a doctor. If you can also find a mental health crisis team. You just need to Google that for your area. Samaritans can help you. They're on 116 123 in the UK. Also, Papyrus is they have a great helpline. But please don't be alone. But you know, the teachers are in a really difficult position as well. So it's hard for them to be able to help you in the way that you need. I do feel for you, but perhaps it's a different avenue that you need to be going down. Thank you, Jasmine. So Jasmine has just pinned that post, that comment, the Samaritans phone number. So if anyone's struggling, you know, Samaritans are amazing. They're very kind people, and they're just real people at the end of a phone that can listen and, you know, perhaps help you in a way that can be good for you. So right, let me just see one more question, and then I'm going to go and answer some questions. Let's see. Michael says, Sarah, what's your opinion on people that say men should not be emotional? I don't think I've ever heard anyone say that, to be honest with you. So I would say it's rubbish. That everyone's emotional. We're human beings. Whoever we are, we all have emotions. So I think it's okay. It's natural for us all to feel. So that's my view on that. Let's see. And Andrea, hello Andrea, my lovely. Andrea says, I put all bad thoughts to the back of my mind. Is this a good idea? Let me write that down. Put bad thoughts to the back of mind. Okay, thank you for asking all these questions. I'm trying to get through them. So, okay, so bass fishing, talking about the anxiety in our brains. Oh God, I've not written enough information for me to remember that. Okay, so on my page, Bass Fishing, that there's lots of information about anxiety and about what it is. So anxiety is fight or flight. It's a completely natural thing, and it's really helpful because it can send a message to our system. Our nervous system is scanning our environment and noticing if there's stuff that is wrong or of threat to us. And most of the time, when it's working sort of well, it's a helpful thing because it notices there's something tricky. You know, you might have a driving test, or you might have, you know, there might be a car that's travelling a bit fast towards you, and immediately you get a surge of adrenaline that allows you to do something. You can take action, you can run away, you can fight your way out of a situation, you know, that kind of stuff. So when it's working well and working normally, then that's great. It's really helpful. However, there are times when it sort of goes into overdrive, and our brain is getting messages all the time saying that we're in danger. And it's either because our environment is generally unsafe that we're in and we understand it to be dangerous, or we're imagining, we're very forward focused, looking into the future, thinking, oh gosh, you know, everything is terrible and everything is going to go wrong, and that's not good because that's our imagination working overdrive, going into overdrive, and our brain doesn't know the difference between an imagined scenario and the real life scenario. So it doesn't want to take a chance. What it does is it goes, oh my God, this is really happening. It feels like it's really happening, even though I've only imagined it. And it throws you into fight or flight. And also what can happen is that you might have had an event in your past where it was dangerous, or perhaps was understood to be dangerous. You were thrown into fight or flight. You survived it, and your brain's gone, oh, that worked ever so well. We're going to remember this. And every time there's a match between what happened in the past and your present day, you'll be sent into fight or flight. Match is something that is a occurrence, like going into school or going into work or having a boss that looks like someone that was in your past. And so that is not helpful. So the way that I work is that what we do is we first of all start to try and learn about what's happening. We create an environment of safety, so we help our nervous system understand that that was then, that will be then, potentially, or not at all, and this is now. We want to be more and more present in this moment. So that we create an environment of safety where our stress hormones are lowered, but also it's really helpful to work with a therapist so that we can look at what has happened in the past maybe and reframe it to understand through adult eyes what was going on. Maybe, you know, it wasn't just about you. Anyone in that situation would have had that experience potentially. So I hope that answers a little bit. I'm not sure if it does, because I think I wrote your question down a bit wrong. So so Naomi says, I do not think not everyone has anxiety. There's a difference. Oh, okay. Let me see. I can't see sometimes I see bits of conversations and I can't see all of them. So it's difficult. But anyway, okay, so I'm going to answer my next question. I hope that helped all right, bass fishing. I'm not sure if it did. So Beck Johnson, thank you for asking your question. So your boyfriend lost his mum 3 years ago and he's still very moody and angry all the time. So grief is a very tricky thing for us to deal with, and I think that sometimes, not always, but you know, a lot of the time, you know, as Michael was saying about men feeling emotion, sometimes men tend, I'm not saying that it's a generalization, but like women, we tend to talk about our feelings a lot. You know, it's more of a natural thing that with our girlfriends we talk about how we're feeling, whereas men tend not to. I know that's a huge generalization, but sometimes if the grief is sort of trapped inside and there's been no release for it, then he's in protective behaviour. That's what the moodiness and the anger is it's protective behaviour. So fight or flight, which is what that is, he's in the fight part of that. And the anger and the moodiness is caused because there's a need there that's not being met. And I don't know what that need is, but if he's struggling by himself, then, you know, it might be helpful for him to go and see someone. And whether that's a grief bereavement counsellor, then, you know, that could be really helpful. I don't know if he's already spoken to somebody, but maybe he just needs to speak a little bit more about it. Sometimes people go, oh no, I don't need anything. And I think as partners or friends or family of someone who's struggling with their emotions like this, it's just about being really, really patient with them and reassuring. There's a really interesting article. If you look, so through my profile, if you click on my photograph, it takes you to my profile, like my grid, and there's a link tree. And one of the things there is My Quest Hub. And on there, there's all sorts of articles, lots and lots of free resources. And one of them, if you look in the search bar on My Quest Hub, if you look for a grief and bereavement, there's a really interesting article by a friend of mine, Jane Cowan, who is a bereavement counsellor. And it's so interesting. There's lots and lots of links, lots of articles, websites, apps that can be very helpful. So maybe have a look at that. And if you think it might be useful for him, then maybe you could suggest it to him and he could have a little look. But I think, you know, be as kind as you can, be patient, and encourage him to speak. And you know, even you talking about his mum, if that might help, because quite often we just shut down, don't we? We don't talk about the person that's died. And we do need to, because we need to help our brain process through the grief. So I hope that helps a little bit. I'm glad he's got you and that you care enough to be asking the questions here. So let's have a little look through some of these comments. B, how do I get on your page? Okay, so as I was just saying, so if you look at, there's somewhere on the page that you're on now, there should be a little photo of me. If you click on that, it should take you through to my grid, and on there's lots and lots of videos. There's a link tree to lots and lots of free resources, so hopefully you can find it through there. So I know I'm answering your question, Andrea, but Moon has also asked a good one. Anxiety has been limiting performance at work. Any tips? Work. Any tips? Okay, let me write that down, and I'll come back to that. Thank you for following me, Moon. Yes, Jasmine, thank you. If you want to see my profile, if you look at the photograph and click on that. Oh, Nadine, what a beautiful little origami bird. Do you know, you're so kind. You're such a lovely person. Let's see. Thank you so much all for being here. If you just joined, I'm Sarah and I'm a therapist, and I do this every Friday at 6 for an hour, just talking about anxiety, trying to answer as many questions as I can, trying to point you in the right direction to get help. And it's just lovely to have you here. Thank you for any likes or any follows, any shares. They're always greatly appreciated. Don't feel like you're pressured though. That's fine. Let's see. Okay. So yeah, okay. I can see that a lot of people are talking to yeah. Anyway, I'm not going there. Oh, Julesy, how lovely to see you. Very nice to see you. Okay. Oh, Marlo, I'm having the biggest panic attack of my life. Okay. So hopefully just being on here can help you a little bit. If you click on my picture, then that will take you to my page. And if you look on the top, there's 3 pinned posts. And one of me in a grey jumper. There's a really helpful little video there of a technique where you just circle your thumb and finger, and that can be helpful. Or maybe just stay here for now and just give your focus to my voice, to what's going on here, and just slow everything down, slow your breathing, because it will pass. You'll be okay, and hopefully by the end of this you'll feel a little bit better. But I'm glad that you're here. This is a good place for you to be. So Mia asked a good question. So how many therapy sessions does it normally take to notice a difference? So for me, I mean, it depends on the individual. It really does. I would say generally for me between 3 and 6 sessions. I would say after the first session we would see a difference because it's enough to start your brain processing. But it really depends, and it depends on the therapy, depends on the therapist, depends on you, depends on what's going on for you. So it's this kind of how long is a piece of string. But generally the work that I do is what's called brief therapy, and results come relatively quickly. So I hope that helps answer your question. Oh, Elizabeth, I'm so sorry to see that. So you lost your sister. You lost her and she died a few years ago. My condolences to you, Elizabeth. It's very hard, isn't it, when we lose people that we love. Let's see. Okay. And Anna, let's see. So Anna, I can't. Dudash Yams? I don't know how to say your name. Dudash Yams. My anxiety causes IBS, and IBS causes anxiety. Okay, that is interesting, isn't it? And difficult for you. How to break the cycle. Okay. Right, I will come back to you with that one. Okay, let me answer Andrea's question, because Andrea, you've been waiting for a while. So Andrea says, I put bad thoughts to the back of my mind. Is that a good thing? Well, it can be. It can be a really helpful strategy. You know, if we are in a situation and we're having, you know, really difficult thoughts, intrusive thoughts, or anxious thoughts, depressed thoughts, you know, to be able to go, okay, this is this thought here, and I'm going to wrap it up, and I'm going to put it in a box, and I'm going to put it to the back of my mind because I don't need to be dealing with it right now. Then I think that is a very helpful strategy to be able to do that. So, you know, it's great that you can do that. However, at some point we do need to deal with what's going on. I always, you know, as QCH therapists, we ask the question, what's that about? What's that about? You know, what is it about that thought that makes it difficult? What's triggered that thought? And what is it that means that you want to put that to the back of your mind and not sort of take it out and be curious about it, examine it. And is that a scary thing to do? Or are you able to bring those thoughts to the forefront of your mind and look at them and go, okay, what's this about? So sometimes I think it's useful to be curious. Curiosity is such a useful tool. And if you can have the courage to do that, to have a look and think, what is it about this thing that is bothering me, then that can be helpful. Because if we know what it is, then we can go, oh, okay, so it's this thing. So, like, for example, so I went to my cousin's house a few years ago now, and I was there, and I, you know, arrived feeling, oh, this is brilliant, I'm going to see all my cousins, it's great. Well, within like an hour of being there, we're all sitting around, everyone's talking about stuff. I felt like a child again. I felt so inferior and so, I don't know, stupid, because they were all talking about, stuff. They said, oh, I read this book, I read this article in the Times and all that kind of thing. And I was thinking, oh, blimey, well, I've been watching I'm a Celebrity. And I think it's because I just thought, because they were saying that they'd read all these things in these articles and they could back up what their opinions were with stuff from things that they'd read, I just had opinions. I thought, well, I don't really have anything to back that up. I don't have any evidence. And so I was feeling like a child because I felt a bit out of control and a bit inferior, and I didn't feel like I fitted in. And it was interesting to see that, because I thought, oh, okay, so what can I do about this? That's another really good question you can ask yourself, is what can I do about this? And so from then on, I thought, well, clearly I need to start reading a bit more. So I started, you know, I listened to podcasts, I read lots and lots of stuff. And so the next time we went up for a cousin's weekend, I was chatting, and I could chat and hold my own and say, oh yeah, I was reading this very interesting article in the blah blah blah, and I don't think it made any difference to how they felt about me, because they didn't know what I was feeling, but it just made me feel like, yeah, I'm a bit more grown up here. So yeah, that sense of being curious about what is this thing, why am I feeling like this, and what can I do about it. So I hope that helps, Andrea. I hope that's okay. Thank you for asking the question. Hello, Jen. Jen Dodd, it's really nice to see you on here. Thank you for being here. It's very lovely. Let's see. Nadine, you are making us all proud by being here. It was so lovely to see you here. Yes, Jen Dodd. I love I'm a Celeb. I sat down this afternoon and watched the Getting Out show, which I love. I love all that, you know. Let's see. Okay, let me answer Moon. Let me answer your question, Moon. So Moon said, so your anxiety is limiting your performance at work. Any tips? So it's interesting, isn't it? It's a really good question, because I think that probably a lot of us feel that way. You know, when we're at work, we can feel anxious. And again, to ask that question, what's this about? What is it about this particular situation that makes me feel anxious? Because if you look at your life, there are probably lots of situations where you don't feel anxious. You know, when you're sitting at home watching telly, when you're with your friends, you know, having a meal, or, you know, things like that. There'll be lots of times where you feel quite comfortable in yourself. And so what is it specifically about work? So be curious about it. What is it that triggers you? Is it all work, or is it particular people at work? Is it the fear of judgment? Quite often, I think at work that can be something that is really prevalent, that sense of what will people think of me? Do they think I'm rubbish at my job? And then we go down that rabbit hole, don't we, of if they think I'm rubbish at my job, maybe I won't get the promotion I want, or maybe they'll even fire me. And it's we always go down the negative route. We don't tend to look at people looking at us and think, oh, they clearly think I'm marvellous, because we have that sort of hardwired need to fit in, and we want to do our best and succeed, don't we? So I think that's the first thing, is to look at, okay, what is it? What are the situations that I feel most anxious in? And then perhaps to help yourself to look at even simple things like posture, like to have your head up, to be looking up. Because when we're head down and eyes down, we're in our visual space, which is all about emotion. If you hear people saying, oh, she's looking really down today, and you do, don't you? When we're feeling down or not very confident, our shoulders go forward, our head drops, our gaze drops. And we know if someone's feeling a bit down because they have that physical way of holding themselves. So if you can hold yourself, shoulders back, head up, gaze up, slow, nice breaths, take your time, that can be really helpful. And ask for help if you think that perhaps you're not performing in a particular area. So whether that's a particular sort of technical side of something that you find difficult, get help with it. Say, what can I do? How can I improve myself? Because people will appreciate that. And also what you can do is, look at your entire lifestyle and look at what do you do. Because a lot of the time we can have, if you imagine our life as a pie, and a lot of the time work is such a big slice of our pie, and if work is difficult, then that can be hard. So it's about balancing out the rest of our life so that we're doing stuff outside of work that makes us feel much more confident and much more good about ourselves, so that our levels of stress hormones go down. Our levels of hormones like oxytocin, endorphins, serotonin, dopamine, they go up, and we think, oh yeah, I feel pretty good about myself. So if you go into work and there's a situation where, I don't know, say for example you have to do a presentation, or you have to talk to someone particular, or do a task, and you don't feel very confident about that, even if your levels go boom, it's not as difficult as if your stress hormones are up here and it goes into overwhelm. So I think also be kind to yourself. We're all learning and growing all the time. None of us are who we will be yet, and it's about learning. And how can you learn if you don't, ask about maybe training, that kind of thing. So I hope that helps a little bit. Because you definitely can make a change in the way that you're feeling. And if it comes down to it and you think, I can't do this by myself, then look at maybe talking to a therapist and say, I want some practical stuff. If you have a look again through my profile, there's a link to a QCH therapist finder, and there's loads of therapists in there who would be only too happy to help you with, perhaps there's a limiting belief that you have about yourself, that maybe you feel, I'm not good enough, I'm not clever enough, I'm, all of the things I'm not, we feel I'm not. So yeah, maybe have a chat with some of them. You don't have to, you go along and have a chat. Most people do either a phone call or a free session just to see, is this right for me? There's no obligation. So hopefully that helps a little bit. So let's see. I've got one more, Anna's. I'm going to be answering yours in just a second. Kelly Tempesta. I'm seriously struggling at the moment. Been diagnosed with panic disorder and anxiety. Vicious circle. Yeah, I really feel for you. Anxiety is such a horrible thing, isn't it? And it does feel like a vicious circle. I hope that maybe, you know, if you can go and have a look on my page, down the bottom of my sort of profile bit, there's lots of categories, lots of videos, information about anxiety, helpful techniques with anxiety. There's all sorts of stuff. Maybe those can help you because they're very practical. That's a good thing about QCH therapy. It's really practical stuff. We don't just talk about how awful everything is. If we ever go back to a memory of stuff or an event that's happened, it's all about reframing it. It's about being practical and helping you to move forward. So I really hope that that maybe can help you. Let's see. Oh, Sarah 002. It's so nice to see you. Not seen you for ages. Thank you for coming along. Really nice to see you. So let's see. Thank you for following me. Thank you for being here, everyone. It's really nice to see everyone. Happy Friday. Oh, and Alioup saying, I've been off sick for a few months, back at work on Monday. This is making me very nervous. Oh gosh, well, let me, Anna, I am coming to you. Actually, let me make a note of Alioup, and then I'll do Anna's question first and then come to you. So back to work, feeling anxious. Okay, I won't be a second and I'll be with you, Alioup, all right? But thank you for asking that question. I think that's something, you know, there's so many, you know, with COVID and stuff, there's lots of stuff going around, isn't it? And it's, if we've been off sick for whatever reason, that's lovely. I like that one, Nadine, thank you. So it's natural to feel nervous going back to work, but I'll answer that in just a second. So Anna was saying anxiety causes IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, and IBS causes anxiety. So I've just seen Evie Powell. I've seen your post that's been pinned. So I'm so sorry that you're struggling at the moment with self-harm. It's really difficult, isn't it, when you're going through something like that? And I think it's so important that you reach out for help, you know, to either friends or family, someone that you think that you can trust, maybe going to see your doctor. There's a really nice app called Calm Harm, which is a free app that can help you to delay and distract yourself if you feel the need to self-harm. And that's a really nice app. But I think that it is very important that you actually work with someone. And if you are working with someone and you're struggling really a lot at the moment, reach out to them and say, you know, I'm in a really bad place here. Also, again, the Samaritans can be really helpful. And I know that we look at Samaritans as being perhaps a helpline for people who are struggling and having suicidal thoughts, but they help with all sorts of things. It's not just that. So Evie, keep going, be kind to yourself. The reason that people self-harm is because there's so much emotion going on and it's really difficult to deal with at the moment. But 99% of people who self-harm, particularly when they're younger, come through that to a place where they actually can find different ways of coping, that everything can just calm down a bit and the need to self-harm grows less and less and less and less. So, you know, please look after yourself, be kind. It's not about stopping straight away, because, you know, I think perhaps people who self-harm feel afraid that someone's going to say, you've got to stop. Actually, it's about managing it safely and getting help whilst you're doing that. So it's sort of weaning yourself off and finding different ways. And on my, so there's the Calm Harm, so CALMHARM, which is an app. If you search for that, that can be really useful. But also some of the techniques that I share on my page hopefully can be useful. And the same for Apple user. You know, if you're twirling your hair, if you're pulling hair, then again, the same applies for you. So I'm just going to answer, I hope that helps a little bit. So I'm going to go back to Anna's question. Thank you, Anna, for being so patient. So anxiety causes IBS and IBS causes anxiety. How to break the cycle. So IBS, so our mind and our body are so connected. I think people with IBS do find that stress and anxiety makes the IBS feel more difficult. So I think that the most important thing is to create an environment of safety, to begin to help yourself with things like self-care, with self-compassion, with kindness towards yourself, understanding that the IBS is a protective behaviour that's happening unconsciously, that it's kind of consciously out of your control, other than, there might be things that quite often people find that, certain foods make it more difficult, stuff like peppers, garlic, onions, that kind of stuff. So to look at what am I eating that triggers me, and perhaps to remove those from your diet, but to eat as healthily as you possibly can. But the most important thing is to break out of that loop, exactly as you say, as a vicious cycle. If you can break out of that loop by beginning to be kind to yourself, to begin to use perhaps some of the techniques that I talk about, the physical techniques, the visualization techniques, the breath techniques, so that you're using them not just in a moment of crisis, but every day, so that you can wake up in the morning and perhaps you do some tapping, perhaps do a balancing breath to go, okay, here I am, I'm set for my day. And then perhaps during the course of the day, just bringing those anxiety levels down a bit. It may well be that it's helpful to talk to somebody and work out where has this come from. But what you'll find is that the more you can create an environment of safety, the less inflammation there is, the less your nervous system is picking up those messages that there's danger, and causing the inflammation in your gut, or whatever it is, whatever the symptoms are. So I'd say that is a really good way to go. And if you can start to see that beginning to work, if you can see, oh yeah, look, my stress hormones are getting lower and lower, the incidence of me noticing the IBS are getting further and further apart, then that can be really helpful. And so you do a bit more and you do a bit more of this stuff, being kind to yourself, balancing everything out. So it's a sort of chicken and egg thing, I understand that, but actually there's lots of practical things that we can do to help. And the more you do that stuff and the more you see everything calming, the less need there is for that protective behaviour. So I hope that helps a little bit. Thank you for asking the question. IBS can definitely be helped. So Alioop, I'm going to answer yours now. So you're going back to work on Monday and you're feeling anxious. So I don't know how long you've been off work. Just see if you, let's see, I am, okay. So I'm not sure how long you've been off work, but as I was saying a bit earlier, it's completely normal, isn't it, to go, oh, thank you, Anthony Allen. I'm so glad you enjoy these sessions. So you've been off 2 months. Okay, thank you for answering that. So 2 months is quite a long time, isn't it? And we get back into the swing of, being at home, or whether you've been at home or whether you've been somewhere else. And so going back into work, can feel tricky. I think that our imagination, because we tend to have a negative bias, we tend to imagine worst case scenario as a protective response. Our brain will be thinking, oh, blimey, what's the worst thing that can happen? But remember, it's not black and white. So it might be that your brain is going, well, this is worst case scenario. They're all going to do this, or they're all going to do this, or I don't know what it is. What your worst case scenario might be. But there's also a best case scenario. And we tend to think, well, it's either this or this. It's either, boom or bust. That's not actually the case, because there's all these other things in between, you know. And so it's about working towards best case scenario, as close as you can to best case scenario, which is you go into work and everyone's chuffed to see you and you have a great day, maybe, and away from worst case scenario. So the chances are that if you so you're saying they think I've left them in the lurch because it's been so busy, but you've been ill, you know, and so you haven't left them in the lurch. That's not your responsibility. You know, if your bosses have not provided cover for you, then that is not your responsibility. And you're going back. So you can go back in, take some cakes with you and turn up and go, it's so lovely to see you all. Thank you so much. It's, you know, all of that kind of stuff. So it's about managing it and realising that they will probably be really chuffed to see you. And if they're not, then we're more fool them. So I think as well, the techniques that I mentioned before that are on my page to help you to realise, you know, to help you to feel calmer can be really helpful. And although, you know, maybe the first day might feel a little bit strange because it's strange going back into work, isn't it? It might be much better than you think. So I think perhaps a technique that might be helpful for you would be this one. Now, I know I talk about this one all the time, but it's actually very helpful and you can use it without people even knowing that you're using it. So so maybe have a look at that. It's pinned on my profile page. And yeah, maybe come back to us next week, Alioub, and let us know how it went. So I hope that helps a little bit. But remember that it's not necessarily going to be worst case scenario and it's not your responsibility. You are entitled to be off work if you're poorly and it's not down to you to provide cover. And when you're saying, you know, you're thinking that they all think that you've left them in the lurch, well, that's quite a big generalisation. You don't necessarily know that for sure and for definite. So I hope it goes really well for you. Have a nice relaxing weekend if you can. So, I've just seen Jen. Hi Sarah, had my review at work, the new job, doing fantastic. Yay! I'm so happy to see that. So thank you, Alioub. Thank you. Good luck you. Hope it goes well. So Jen was on the live a while ago now, feeling really anxious, had a job interview, got the job interview, has been working, if I'm right, is it as a veterinary nurse that you've been working? I think that's right. And I'm just so chuffed for you that you're doing really well. So you can see, so, you know, Alioub, you can see there, like Jen was so nervous about going for this job interview and, you know, not only did it go better than she thought, but actually she's doing really well. So the same can apply to you. So I hope that's all right. Yeah, so Jen was petrified. So it's that whole thing, isn't it, of our brain puts us into an imaginary scenario of how awful everything's going to be, and really we're kind of simulating how awful it's going to be so that we know how to cope with it. But it's not necessarily the case that it's going to be awful. Quite often the anticipation of stuff is far worse than the reality. So I'm hoping that that's true for you, Alioub, and I'm really glad for you, Jen, that it's going well. Good on you. So I think it's 7:02. We've sort of run our course. So I want to thank you so much, everyone, for being here. It's been absolutely lovely seeing you. Thank you for being here. Thank you to my moderators, to Lynn250 and to Jasmine, for being here and for being so helpful, for pinning posts, for answering questions in your own right. And thank you for those of you who come every week. It's so lovely to see you. I would like to say all your names, but I'd hate to think that I'd miss somebody out and then you'd feel bad, because I recognise you all from the, you know, my videos in the week where you comment and you're so kind of and supportive of one another. So it's really lovely. So I'm going to say goodbye. If you are interested in watching this, if you're just joining us now, you came halfway through and you'd like to see the whole live, then do go and have a look at Sarah Fri Therapy on YouTube. You can Google that, or you can have a look at my profile page. If you click on my picture there on the top left hand side, I think it's top left, that will take you through to my grid, and there's a link tree there which takes you through to loads and loads of free resources. There's my YouTube is the one at top, there's my website, there's a therapist finder, there's my Quest Hub, there's information about the sort of therapy that I do. But it's all free, and you're very welcome to go and have a look. And so the YouTube will be posted on there, either later on tonight or over the weekend at some point. I've got a bit of a busy weekend. I was about to say whizzy weekend, I didn't mean that. But, oh, Vic W. Gosh, I've just seen you for the first time. So it was really nice to see you. Thank you for being here. Nadine, I'm so glad that you were here. It's been lovely to see you. I hope you have an easier week. Keep going, because we're all rooting for you, and we hopefully will see you next Friday too. So, Elizabeth, I'm kind of saying goodbye to everyone now, so I'm going to take some time to just scroll through and have a look at everyone's comments and say cheerio. Thank you to Lynn250 and Jasmine, and thank you to all of you. And I hope you have a lovely weekend. Look after yourselves, be kind to yourselves. If you're struggling right now, keep going, because you can get through to a place where life feels so much easier, so much better, even though it doesn't feel possible right now. So look after yourselves. Now let's have a little look. Gosh. Elizabeth, big hugs to you too. Elizabeth Malmros, thank you for being here. Oh, rude hostess. Nice to see you. That's my pleasure. I'm glad that you like the videos. Jasmine, have a lovely weekend. Thank you so much. Carrie, you take care. Lovely to see you. San, thank you. As always, thank you for being grateful to Lynn and Jasmine and Team Sarah. It's always really nice to see you. Thank you for all your support. Heather, nice to see you. Night night. Have a good Friday. Let's have a look. Oh, Ellie, thank you for following me. Let's see. Just want to make sure I don't miss anything. Have a lovely weekend. Alyssa. Oh, Alyssa, lovely. Definitely going to come back next week. Brilliant. That would be really nice. It'll be great to see you next week. Andrea, thank you for being here. Thank you for all your support in the week. And thank you for asking that question. Oh, that's so lovely. Thank you, Nadine. Please don't spend all your money on us, Nadine. You don't need to do that. We love you. Without you spending any money on sending gifts, but you're so kind and we do appreciate that. You're very, very lovely. So thank you. Oh, I hate the way these things scroll through so quickly. Oh gosh, Anna, how to stop panic attacks? Have a look on my profile page. There's a stuff about panic attacks. So I'm kind of finishing now, so I'm afraid I can't answer your question right now, but I hope that helps you. There is a thing about panic attacks there. Same time next Friday, 6 o'clock. Hopefully you can come along. Alyssa, it'd be nice to see you. Thank you, Bear. 1966, nice to see you. Sylvan, nice to see you. Thank you. Oh. See, bye-bye, Julesy. Nice to see you. Hope you have a lovely weekend. I love your cooking. You make me feel so hungry. That thing you did the other day that you said you felt tearful eating, the lamb thing. Oh, it looks so delicious. Cheerio. Have a lovely weekend. Oh, well, Nadine and Charlie Bear, thank you. I'm not mad with you. I'm really grateful. You make me happy. So hopefully I'll see you and Charlie Bear next Friday. Have a good week. Be kind to yourself. Oh, listen. Good. Well, you've only been on 10 minutes. Well, have a look at the whole one. Maybe that on the YouTube. Maybe that would make you feel even calmer. San, I hope to see you next week. And I hope your brother's doing all right. Elizabeth, I hope you're all right. I hope you have a better week this week, and see you next week. Lovely. All right, I'm going to say goodbye. So take care, all you lovely people, and I will see you every day. I post every day, but particularly next Friday at 6 o'clock UK time. Take care, be kind to yourselves.